Okay, we'll start. Today's topic is unlocking inner powers for a blissful life. So we all want to be powerful and experience that inner bliss. See how that is possible. First, we need to understand what inner power is, right? So power can be defined as it's the ability or capability of doing or accomplishing an act. It could be also defined as an energy or force or strength that is needed for performing an action or for completing a process or to operate something. For example, like electric power or atomic power. So those are all powers. That is like energy that is needed, that helps in running things and devices. All our electronic devices need power to function. And another definition of power, if we're looking at the society, is power is something that gives us the ability or capacity to direct or influence the behavior of others or course of events, how events occur. So that also can be another definition of power. So for inner power, we are looking at more so for power as an energy that drives us, energy that is within us and that helps us lead a blissful life or lead a successful life. So that is inner power. So it is that power that is within us, and it is that energy or capacity of the self to maintain that stability while facing any situations or any hardships, any difficult circumstances. It is that energy or capacity that we call as inner power. And it is the energy of the self, of the spiritual being, and that is needed for the optimal functioning and for us to have a balanced, blissful, and happy life. It can also be said as the ability or the power for us to do what we want and when we want it. That is another definition of power. So to know about inner power, we have to know about the self first. That is the first step. That's if we know about ourselves, then we know what is the power within us, then we'll be able to use it. So this is a question we have a lot of times, and we may have taken a pause to ask ourselves this or not, but definitely we all have to find an answer to this question as to who am I? Am I this role that I'm playing? I'm an executive, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a student, or whoever. Am I just this role that I'm playing? Or am I the gender that I am, that this body is, male or female? Or am I a citizen of this country or that country? Is that what defines me? So there are a number of questions for us to answer, for us to find out who the real self is, right? But yet, all of those answers, like the profession, the education, the status in the society, the community we belong to, the religion we follow, or the faith that we have, all these are tags that have come along since our birth. But my real identity is beyond that. And what is that real identity? Is when we are able to discover that real identity of ourself, it becomes easy for us to know what our power is, what our true potential is. So in Brahmakumaris, we learn about our real identity as a human being is part, like the human body and the inner being, which is the spiritual energy, the soul. And when they are together, that's when we call a human being. And the soul is a tiny, tiny point of energy. It's that driving force, that living energy that's responsible for life. And that soul is located in the center of the forehead, in the brain, in between the hypothalamus and the pituitary glands. And that is the location of the soul, that spiritual energy in the body. And it drives us, it controls the different functions of the body by sending subtle energy to the brain and the rest of the body. So how is this knowledge or information about the self helpful? How is it helping us to identify ourselves more? Until now, if we identify ourselves with the cars we have, with the profession we have, we belong to, or the possessions we have, they're all like bondages that we are trying to ourselves, but they do not define us. Instead, they rather trap us. So believing and thinking that this is what we are by looking at all these external things is like a big trap. It's like an illusion for the self. And they form the chains that we are bound to, all these physical possessions. Like if we own an expensive car, then we spend half the time worrying about if anything is going to happen to that car. Same with all the kinds of possessions, and also more so with people too. Like if we think they belong to us and we own them, then there is inside in the mind there is a fear of losing that loving person, losing that precious friend. There is always that fear when we get attached to things or people or surroundings, and then they cause us to form limitations within ourselves. And also a big barrier is limiting beliefs about ourselves is also a big bondage. So understanding this is very important for us to free ourselves and experience the inner peace and power that the original self is. In contrast to all these beliefs and misconceptions of who we are, truly, the reality is that we are an eternal being, a being of purity, peace, power, bliss, and love. This eternal being of light is what our true identity is. This is what I, or the self, is. And anything around it, including this body, is only a trap and is only a temporary thing. But the eternal being is the true identity of myself. And that is the uniqueness of me. I am a spiritual being going through this physical experience with this physical body. How is this knowledge useful for us? Is, as I said, it will help us in breaking our bondage, in breaking the chains that we have tied ourselves up in. So when we know that as a soul, eternal being, we are spiritual energy, point of light, then a lot of fears and anxieties and worries disappear. And we are able to understand ourselves better. And that will help us in controlling ourselves, controlling our responses, and leading a balanced life. We are able to experience and realize our true potential. And here we also learn in BRAHMAKUMARIS that the soul has three components: mind, intellect, and the impressions or the sanskaras. And we'll see what it is. Just as the body has different parts, those are the different parts of the soul or the spiritual being. And how these three interplay in functioning of the self, the soul, and also the functioning of the body. So once we are able to know and understand and experience our true self, then we are able to accept that true identity of ourself. Then we let go of all the false identities or ego that we have built up around. Ego of belonging to a certain country, ego of belonging to a certain profession. All those are false identities that we have built around, but those are temporary, and one day or another we have to let go of them. So when we know our true identity, we are able to let go of those identities. And it also helps us in widening our outlook. It gives us a broader perspective of way of looking at things. We are not the same narrow-minded understanding. Our understanding widens, so we are able to process things in a much better way, and we have control. So now, with this basic understanding of the self, we're going to look at what is it. This is me. The self is the soul, and then we'll look at the powers that the soul has. What are the inner powers that we have, and how can we use them to lead a blissful life? Sorry, the view is blocking. Let me just... So the first power that we are going to look at is the power of thought. So this is the most valuable power that we, the self as a soul, have. And it is the highest power we can call. It is that power which is the creative power of us, the creative beings. It is because of our thought power we have the name as creative beings. Human beings are so creative. And if we look around us, we can find everything. What is the creation of this human mind is. Like all the equipment that we are seeing today and using are the creation of human mind, right? The creation of our power of thought. So that much power that each thought of us has of creating new things, not just things in the physical world, but it also is the creative power for our inner world, the world within us. It is the creative power to create the inner powers. And it is the essential power that we can say is the foundation that is needed both in the fields of science and spirituality. So if we are really powerful, then we know how to use this power of thought in a great way for our benefit and for the benefit of everyone. So it is the basis for all the inventions and discoveries in science and also spirituality. It is the basis of how we are able to reach our own inner true self, experience the true self, and also bring out its potential to the world. This is the basis of that. The power of thought is the basis for all that. So, and the power of thought is that component of the soul that I said is mind. Mind is the creative component of the soul, which has this power of thought. So mind is the one that creates the thoughts. And if we see, this is all the inner world, like this is very famous model. We call it the iceberg model of the mind, and we see that most part of it is within us, and what we see as actions, behaviors, and results, outcomes, is only a small portion that we express in the outside world. But what is going on a lot in our inner world is underneath, like the major portion of the iceberg. So we see that our thinking lies here within the thoughts, and that thought gives rise to emotions and our actions and behaviors. So how do we enhance this power of thought is by applying the simple 3P rule, which is to make them pure, positive, and purposeful. Like if we pay attention to what kind of thoughts we are creating as the self, the mind, what kind of thoughts is the mind creating, we can understand. If we are able to pay attention to create positive, pure, and purposeful thoughts, then they become powerful automatically. And this is the foundation for achieving higher consciousness in spirituality also. Like even in the last week's seminar, if some of you attended it, how powerful the thought power is. And we saw like how many thoughts do we create in a day. Like almost up to 80 to 100,000 thoughts are created in a day. And what do we do with all those thoughts? It was so depressing, or discouraging to understand that almost 90% of the thoughts that we produce go to a waste, because we are creating such quality thoughts. Waste thoughts, thinking about the past and future, those are all waste thoughts. So when we pay attention to create pure, positive, and purposeful thoughts, then we are enhancing that power of thought, and we don't become as tired. So as I said, this thought power is the basis for the creation of our inner world, because our inner world is composed of emotions, feelings, values, beliefs, and everything depends on the thoughts. What kind of thoughts we create, all these emotions, values, and beliefs are codependent. So that's how our inner world is created. And similarly, we manifest it into our outer world as our behavior and as our outcomes. So that is the power of thought. It can be, the second power we are going to talk today is the power of belief. This is the power that we can sometimes know at a conscious level, and for the most part, it can be at the subconscious level. If we look at the previous slide, the iceberg model, here beliefs are deep down in the subconscious part of the mind. It cannot be accessed, or they're not shown to the outside as to what our beliefs are completely. But we can see that they drive our thinking, our thoughts also. They influence our thoughts. So this power of belief is also equally important. So power of belief is a major part of our subconscious mind, and we can also call it as our samskaras, or our impressions that are there in the mind. How do we create, how are the beliefs formed? They are formed basing on our perceptions from past events. Whatever our past experiences were, those are responsible for part of our beliefs. And then the conditioning we have received from birth, from childhood, from our parents, and from our friends circle, from the community we grew up in, all those help in creating the beliefs that we have in life. And So what is it? What is a belief? It's just a thought pattern, but it's something that deeply we realize it as truth and we perceive it as real. It may not be, but we perceive it so strongly within ourselves as real. So that is very strong impression within, deep within the soul, in the subconscious mind. And these beliefs are very important because they can act as filters for us. Like whatever we see outside, depending on our beliefs, how our beliefs are, we tend to filter them through those beliefs and process it within ourselves in that manner. And then these beliefs also change our perceptions and how we experience the outside world. So it can be rightly said that you will become what you believe. Like whatever we believe, we become. Here I want to share a small story. Some of you might be familiar with it already, but thought it would be good for us to remind ourselves of that small but powerful story. Like there is a group of frogs that were traveling in a forest, and then there's a big rocky deep pit that two of the frogs from that group fell into. So those frogs fell very deep. The pit was very deep. All the other frogs stopped too, and they all surrounded the pit, and they're looking at the two frogs that slipped into it and seeing what they're going to do. So what these two frogs started doing was they started jumping to get out of the pit. So both of them started jumping, and they were doing it with all their intention to jump, and they wanted to get out of the pit. That was in the back of their minds. So the rest of the frogs that were up above, they were all started telling, be careful, and it's very hard, so it might be difficult, and things like that they started saying. And so one frog, it started listening to this talk around that's going on, and said, oh, okay, they're saying it's difficult. Maybe it might be difficult. I might not be able to do it. And that's how its belief started changing. And the other frog, it didn't listen to anything. It kept jumping, jumping, jumping. It didn't give up. And then the first frog, which started listening to the people, slowly its willpower decreased and it stopped trying. It got exhausted, so it couldn't try anymore. The second frog, which wasn't listening to anyone, it finally managed to jump and come out of it by itself. And everyone around was asking, how did you come out of that? How were you able to jump out of the pit? Then it said, I got all the encouragement from you. The fact is that second frog was deaf. So all it had was its inner belief that it had to jump out and that it can do it. So that inner belief was so strong that it was able to jump out of that deep pit, which everyone thought they will not be able to jump out. But the same thing we do a lot of times in life. Like, we give in to the negative talk, either self-negative talk or talk from outside, and we change our beliefs. But if we have strong willpower and inner belief that we believe in ourselves, then we can achieve anything. Even if others feel that's impossible, we are able to achieve it. That much power does the power of belief have. And so our beliefs, they guide what our thoughts are like, and they are both like a circle in a circular manner, influencing each other. Our thoughts reinforce our beliefs about ourselves, and then our beliefs guide our thoughts. So understanding and realizing and believing deeply that we are that eternal being of light, we are that pure, peaceful being of light, is so powerful that it will take us out from all these limiting beliefs that I am weak, I am powerless, I am fearful. All these limiting beliefs, we are able to cut through them and cut across them in a moment when we understand our true self. That's how powerful the belief is. And we are able to realize our eternal truth. And then the other power that we have is power of choice. We can also call it as that ability within us that helps us choose and decide what we want to do and what we don't want to do. So it is that power which is also called as the willpower. It is the power of the mind, power of the soul, which is through the intellect. Intellect is the willpower or the power of choice that we have inherently. And it's this power is essential for designing our own life. If there is something we don't like, we want to change it. It is in our hands. It is within us to choose whether I can do it, whether I can't do it. That is within us. So it is this inner power that can make or break our life. It acts as the inner director. It can tell us, it can direct our thoughts as to which thoughts you're going to bring into action and make it part of your life or not. And this inner power, willpower, and the power of choice is amplified much more with practice of Raja Yoga meditation and self-discovery. So those were the three basic foundation powers that are within us. And then we will look into further powers. We have a lot of powers. So we will realize only once we know all of these. And I would request everyone to focus on one power which you like, which you want to take from today's talk. Keep it so you are able to bring it into your life from today's talk. One power at least. If we take all, that would be the best, but aim for at least taking one power from today's talk which you want to make your own, or which you already have, or which we already have, but we want to polish further. We want to make it more stronger or powerful. So this power is called the power of knowledge or wisdom. And this power is that spiritual wisdom that is there within, deep within each one of us, but we seem to have lost it, or we have put a lock over this power and we don't know how to unlock it. So we'll look into that. This is the source of attaining all other virtues. This power of knowledge opens the doorway for us to access all the other powers. We can say that it is the knowledge about the self, that discovery that I am the soul, I am the spiritual being who is free, who is pure, and who is powerful. That discovery or that knowledge is all part of this power. And this power, this wisdom gives us the inner clarity about the self, about the divine or the higher power or the higher source, and also our life as to what is around us and the entire world. It gives us a broader perspective so we can see with a new outlook. And then other power is inner peace or silence. So this is peace or silence is a power. It's a great power because it is, if we are peaceful inside, then we are able to understand and open up what we have within us to give to the world. And we are able to process things coming from the outside world in a more peaceful way. So it's like this small oasis that is within us, that stillness within us that holds the answers for all our questions. So it is this peace, it shows us the pathway to our other powers that we have. And this stillness or peace also enables us to develop detachment from the external and internal turmoil that's going on. Like even if we're having chaotic thoughts within us, even few moments of silence or peace within can help us calm down and give us that feeling of control over things. So it makes us more stable. We're not jumping around, or we're not having that anxiety, that worry so much, if you're able to take even small moments of peace. So all these are so much within us, all these powers which lie deep within, just waiting for us to discover. and explore. And then the next power we go to is the power of purity. This is another power that is innate to us. Innate to us. This is the power that is the clean nature of our inner being. It is a state of our being that is free or ignorant of any vices, like how a pure diamond shines. That is our own innate quality of purity, that we are. We are pure, original beings of peace. This quality helps us to see things clearly, and makes us closer to everyone, that we don't see the differences or we don't see the weaknesses of others. We are able to move along together as a family, one family. This is how we originally are, like spiritual beings. First, when we come into this physical experience, this is our natural quality. Sometimes in today's life, we don't feel that we are pure beings because we have acquired all sorts of weaknesses, weak beliefs and weak habits and weak thoughts within us. And so we don't see the purity within us so clearly. But it is there deep within for us to polish it, for us to bring it out. So there is another power, is the power of true love. It is this unconditional love that is within each soul, within the self, that makes us give without asking anything in return. It is an innate nature of the soul, the self, to give and to care for others and to share what we have with others. This is the nature of the true love that we all have. It is beyond any limitations or expectations. There's nothing we need when we are full of this true love. And we are only giving respect, and we are able to get along in a constructive manner, and we are able to lead life in a contented way with contentment when we have this power of true love. So each of these this power is also essential for us to heal the deeper wounds within us. Like any past experiences which are painful, we need this true love to be able to overcome those weaknesses. So all of these are so essential for us to have a blissful life. Each of this is a power that we have, but we have forgotten. So we need to awaken these powers. Once we awaken to the identity of the true self as a soul, we are able to bring these qualities and virtues as powers within ourselves. And then this is the power of bliss. It is a quality that is deep within us to experience this super sensuous joy. It is beyond any of the experiences of the sensual pleasures. It is the innate happiness, innate nature of the soul or the self, free from all the external influences. No matter what, we cannot get rid of this inner bliss, but it gets so merged and overlapped with all the outside layers of our identities as our limitations. As we talked earlier, we start identifying ourselves with all the wrong labels, and that gives us all the feelings of sadness and sorrow and fear, anxiety. So we are not able to experience this true power that is within us, the true power of the super sensuous joy and bliss that is there within us. And this is also called as the Sat Chit Ananda Swarup. This is the true form of the soul or the self. Once we realize our true self, we are able to experience this power and bring it out into our life in a practical way also. Another important power is the power of inner strength. We can call it might as power or power. It is that courage and might that is within us which enables us to face any difficult situation, cross all sorts of barriers, and maintain that equanimity within. And when we have this inner strength, we are able to face challenges and learn from those. So all these, we can call them as our virtues or powers. And when we have all these main powers, these powers we manifest in our life in different as different qualities in our life. Like each of these inner powers that we discussed so far has its own representation. For example, when we are peaceful, we are able to have that experience of that quality of withdraw. Like when we have that inner stillness, we are able to withdraw from the outside distractions, or withdraw from our own weaknesses that are surrounding us, withdraw from the bondages and everything that is outside pulling us away from our state of peace. We are able to gain that power to withdraw and the power to pack up, and we are able to remain in a stable way. When we have this inner peace, we bring this out. And with the power of love that we have within us, we manifest this power of love as tolerance, as acceptance, as forgiveness. So all these are manifested in our actions when we have the power of love within us. And then the power of purity we have can manifest as the power to discern, power to judge, and for us to maintain simplicity in life. That is, when we are in our pure natural state, we don't need too much of complex materialistic things to lead a blissful life. We become simple naturally because our requirements in the outside world go down. We don't need to make our lives complicated. So we naturally bring out simplicity in our lives. And when we have the inner strength, we are able to cooperate with others and have courage and also have patience in our actions. And when we are a combination of all this, then bliss is also natural for us to feel within. So everything that we need for having a blissful life, for having a balanced life, is within us for us to discover, waiting for us to explore and use it, and empower ourselves with these inner powers. So a little bit more in depth about each of these powers. So as I said, when we are peaceful, we get this ability to withdraw ourselves, just like a tortoise can withdraw its limbs. We get this power to withdraw ourselves and be stable in terms by even while we are in the midst of chaos, like the eye of the storm. We might be in the eye of the storm, but we are stable and we are able to perceive everything with that inner stability. And when we have that stability, we are able to pack up what's coming to us and what we need to give out in the life. We are able to pack up our own thoughts, and we are able to pack up all the experiences that we are getting in life, like what is important for us to carry on, to move forward in life. Like life, we all know, is a journey. And for us to move on this journey, with ease, we need to pack very wisely. If we carry all the burdens from the past, then we are not able to enjoy our journey of life. So we get this power to pack up when we are peaceful inside. And then naturally we experience that inner stability within us. And when we have the power to love, and when we have that power of true unconditional love, then naturally we manifest tolerance, acceptance, or accommodation, and we are able to forgive people easily. We are able to forgive our own mistakes also. We are able to learn from it and tolerate those and move forward. It gives us that inner power to heal and go along with power. And then the other power, the power of purity, it gives us the clarity within, that we are able to discern what is good for us and what is bad for us. Just as a swan is able to discern between the diamonds and pearls and stones, we get that ability to discern what is good and what is bad. And then we are able to make the right decisions in life and lead a simple life. That is the power of purity. And these other three powers are its manifestations in life. And when we have the inner strength, as I said before, we learn to cooperate with others. We have the courage to do new things. We have the courage to move ahead in life. We have the courage to overcome obstacles that come along our way. And we also have the patience. We have the patience, just like when the seed is sown, we have to have patience for it to become a big tree and give us fruit. Similarly, we get that when we have that inner strength, we have patience to wait and see for good things to come in life and to face everything else outside also. So this is all in brief powers that we have within us, and how, knowing about ourselves, we are able to have access to all these powers and use them in our life. A question for each one of us to think and to contemplate on is, like, depending on how we are feeling, to judge and to assess ourselves as to what our state is. Like, if we are feeling lost or bad, mad or sad, any of these feelings, they clearly are an identification, are telling us, are pointing to us that we don't know, or we are not under that awareness of who we are when we are experiencing all these emotions. No matter what the situation outside may be, like from the previous few slides, we learned about ourselves, our true inner potential, what it is. But if we are not experiencing our true powers and our true qualities of peace, purity, love, and happiness within, and we are feeling all these emotions, then it is for us to look within as to what is happening, what we are identifying ourselves to, whether we're identifying ourselves to that particular situation, or what is it that we are associating with that is making us feel this way, that we have lost our inner connection to our powers of peace and calmness and love within. What is it that is happening here? So these feelings are very important, or checkpoints for us to stop, take a pause, and check within as to what is happening within us. So they are very good indicators for us to tell us that we have lost our identity as that eternal, pure, peaceful, powerful being of light. We have lost our true identity, and we are in that illusion of some false identity, and that our inner powers are automatically locked. When we forget our true self, our inner powers get locked. So how do we unlock these powers now? We look at the 3 simple steps of unlocking. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this lock, but it's like a number lock, and it has 3 steps to unlock. Like, first you turn right or clockwise, and then you turn counterclockwise. And it's a very complicated procedure, but it's very engaging. So similarly, unlocking our inner powers is not as complex. It's simple, but it involves 3 steps for us to follow. So the first step is, first, we need to take a pause and give ourselves this question: who am I? Who am I? And answer ourselves that I am this pure, peaceful, loving, blissful, powerful being of light. You know, you're not that emotion of madness, you're not that emotion of sadness that you're associating with, or you're not that incident that you're associating with. Those are all temporary things that you're experiencing, but your true identity is that of an eternal being of light. So that is the first question, the first key. And the second question, or the second key to unlock these powers, is, who do I belong to? As a spiritual being, we are eternal beings, and we belong to the eternal parent, the higher source, the supreme being. And he is our eternal parent. So we, as the soul, spiritual beings, are eternally connected to the spiritual source of power, this powerhouse. We have an eternal connection with him as a parent, as a teacher, as our guide. And this can give us instantaneous power even when we are not able to realize our own power. It can fill us with, this connection can fill us with extra power that we need. And then the third key is to know the importance of now, as to what, knowing myself, what is my role now in this life, and what am I here to do? Am I here to experience this sadness and madness and badness in life? Or am I here to bring out my true virtues and true powers and experience it myself and bring it out and share it with others in life of my true qualities? Where am I headed towards in life? These three awarenesses can help us in unlocking our inner powers. These will answer our inner questions and they help us realize our true potentiality. So we are able to bring out those powers in our lives. Another important power that is within us, it is using the power of thought. We are able to have this power of connection with the supreme source or the powerhouse, which we can call as Raja Yoga meditation. It is the highest form of connection. This is the same power that we use to connect with others in our life, to connect with other people, to connect with our outside environment. We connect through our thoughts and emotions. It is the same power of thought and emotion. We use it in a directed way, in a focused way, to connect with the supreme source, the supreme being, God. And this is the only way to connect and to reach God in a true sense. Like all this time in different faiths and religions, we've been searching for who God is. But spirituality and realizing our true self and making that inner connection with our power of thought and our power of mind and intellect is the real way to connect to the supreme source, who is the highest on high and the powerhouse. He's the ocean of knowledge, ocean of bliss. And this way we are able to connect to him and bring whatever power we feel we are lacking in. We are able to fill ourselves and bring ourselves to a higher potential. This connection increases our potential to infinite degree. And it fills ourselves with whatever we are lacking in. We might feel like we are lacking in that pure love. We might feel that we are lacking in that inner happiness or peace. We can fill everything with this connection. And this is a superpower that we have within us that we all need to explore and experiment. So if you're new to this and have not found out about the Raj Yoga or the meditation course, I would encourage everyone to explore this power of connection. And this power helps us get rid of all our weak thoughts and our weak beliefs, our limiting beliefs that we keep holding on to, that limit us in our lives. This power helps us to get past all those limitations. And one important key thing for us to remember we achieve as a part of this power is when we do introspection and intervention by connecting to the supreme source, we become empowered. So that is the key of what we achieve through this power of Raj Yoga. And another byproduct is that of this is that we also develop the power of concentration. In meditation, we do the mental exercise of focusing on one thought or one idea or concept, if we're concept of peace or love, and we are focusing on that and exploring our inner world in these fields, and that gives us the power of concentration. It helps us in developing it it helps us to develop that inner muscle, and it gives us that inner power of realization to experience those qualities within us. So when we practice Raj Yoga, we get that power of concentration within us. And also it gives us that ability to quieten our mind and also control our emotions when we have this power of concentration. It also changes our beliefs and our behaviors. So this is what we gain from becoming powerful, by knowing our true self and by knowing about our powers within us. So when we are having all these powers within us, we are able to understand life better, experience it, and through meditation, we are able to bring ourselves that all these powers out more into our practical life. And one important uh, difference compared to the outside power and the inner power is, the more we use this power, the stronger it becomes. Our power stores get larger the more we use them. And we are able to become a self-sovereign, and we are able to have a happy life, happy family, and we are able to also become role models for others. And we are able to achieve harmony in society. Everything starts with the power of thought. So that is the foundation power that we have. We think, we believe, and we become that. So this process of self-discovery leads us from an illusion of the self as limited, belonging to this gender, belonging to this profession, and belonging to this idea of being weak, powerless, and sorrowful, to that true identity of the self as a being of free spiritual energy, eternal power. So this is true power that we gain from discovering our true self. And we are able to bring out all the inner powers of peace, purity, love, and happiness within us to the outer world also. So briefly, I would talk about myself too. Sorry, I forgot to introduce before. I am Sri Divya, and I have been associated with Brahmakumaris for a long time. From my childhood, through parents, I came to know. Initially, it was just with the feeling of love and care that I received in the centers. I used to go there as the understanding grew deeper, then really started appreciating the depth of the knowledge and started applying it in my life, and find it so much beneficial in dealing with daily challenges in life, and in keeping that inner equilibrium no matter what we come across in life. And I want to tell about the organization Brahmakumaris. World Spiritual Organization is a non-profit organization. It was founded in 1936-37, and it has a global presence now in 130 countries, and we have more than 8,000 centers and over 1 million practicing members worldwide. And our motto is to share the spiritual knowledge to enable the self, to transform the self, and also for bringing about transformation in the world, to bringing about a renewal in the world by inculcating all these inner virtues. And we also develop this deep collective consciousness of peace and individual dignity of each being, and help individual to transform their perspective of the world from material to spiritual. This is what is empowering and giving us the true inner freedom. And about the Brahmakumaris Silicon Valley Center. So Silicon Valley Center is the local branch of Brahmakumaris in the Bay Area that we offer several free Raj Yoga meditation courses in different languages, Hindi, English, and other languages too. And we have weekly seminars or webinars now, other events, retreats, and kids living values classes, and also parenting classes. Silicon Valley Center is very fortunate to have Sister Kusum Kejriwal. She is been the director of the center for the Silicon Valley Center, and she has been practicing meditation since childhood. Since her age of 2, she has gotten associated with Brahmakumaris, and she has been leading a surrendered life for over 38 years. And she is a great resource for us. And she had come to Bay Area from Mumbai, India, 25 years back. And since then, she has been tirelessly serving the Bay Area and helping us all realize our true potential. And she is really a mentor and a true guide for us. And she's very approachable, loving, and she can guide us personally in achieving our own true potential as spiritual beings. And we have over 200 regular students that attend daily spiritual discourses at Silicon Valley Center. During lockdown, everything is online now, all these classes. And the center is located in Milpitas in Bay Area. And this is the website and the courses we offer, the links for that. And if you can look up the future events that we have, and also we have other resources and contribution. If you like what we are doing, you can contribute by giving your time, by bringing it into your life, and also monetary contributions by referring your friends to it, and for them also to benefit from the good things we learn here, and to bring about a positive change in their own life. You can share it with others too. And it is also a non-profit organization, so you can get benefit from that also. And a few important upcoming events I want to quickly mention. This is a very interesting panel discussion that we have next week. In fact, the same time, next Saturday, July 25th from 12 to 1, we have a panel discussion, and the topic is COVID-19 pandemic through the lens of self-care and self-growth. This is mostly focused on youth, but every one of us is welcome to join and take benefit from it. But especially if you have any youth, any young adults and children that would benefit from it, please do encourage them to participate in this. And we have a beautiful list of panelists that are going to be participating in this. We have two doctors, Dr. Leena and Dr. Rajni, who are practicing physicians in the Bay Area, and they can share from their depth of experience. And we also have two young adults who are going to share us from their experiences in life, Shivani and Pranavam, who are going to share with us their insights and how they have approached in these times of challenge. And another valuable resource for us is Sister Meghna, who is also going to be part of the panel. So it's a great thing for us all to join and take benefit next Saturday. And other events, upcoming events, you can also get them in the chat window. We have daily live guided meditation from 7:30 p.m. online. You can join anytime, and you don't need any prior experience for it. And as I said, parenting classes and living values classes for kids are also available.